The Ashwood Hotel stood tall, a sentinel of history and mystery. It was grand, elegant. Its architecture spoke of a time when craftsmanship was an art, and every detail was meticulously planned. A relic of a bygone era, the Ashwood was more than just a building. It was a testament to the opulence and grandeur of the past. Nestled amidst the picturesque town of Crestfall, it was a beacon of old-world charm. The town itself seemed to embrace the hotel, with its cobblestone streets and quaint shops adding to the allure. Tourists flocked to it, drawn to its history, unaware of its darkness. They came to marvel at its beauty, to step back in time, and to experience the luxury of a different age. For the Ashwood hid a secret, a sinister past, whispers of hauntings, stories of a room 313. The tales were passed down through generations, each one adding a layer of mystery and fear, where the veil between the living and the dead was thin. On foggy nights the hotel seemed to come alive with the whispers of the past, the air thick with the presence of those who had never left. Locals spoke of the Ashwood in hushed tones, their faces grim. They knew the truth. They had heard the stories, seen the shadows, and felt the chill that came with the setting sun. The hotel was not just a building, it was a vessel, a keeper of secrets, a guardian of memories long forgotten by the world outside, a conduit for the restless souls trapped within its walls. Each room held a story, each hallway echoed with the footsteps of those who had walked them long ago. Their sorrow, their pain, it lingered, a palpable presence. The very walls seemed to weep with the weight of the past, the air heavy with unspoken words and unfinished business. A haunting reminder of the hotel's dark past. The Ashwood was a place where time stood still, where the past and present coexisted in a delicate balance. It was a place of beauty and terror, a place where the living and the dead walked side by side. Room 313 was the epicenter of the hotel's dark reputation. Guests who stayed there reported strange occurrences, objects moving on their own, whispers in the night, and an overwhelming sense of dread. The local newspapers had documented these stories over the years, each article adding to the legend of the Ashwood. Some dismissed them as mere folklore, while others believed every word. The staff too had their own tales to tell. They spoke of cold spots, sudden drops in temperature, and the feeling of being watched. Many refused to enter room 313, even in the daylight. The guest book was filled with entries from those who had dared to stay in the infamous room. Some wrote of their fascination with the paranormal, while others simply left hurried notes warning future guests to stay away. Time seemed to stand still within the Ashwood. The old grandfather clock in the lobby ticked away the hours, but for those who knew the hotel's secrets, it was as if the past was always present. Shadows moved in the hallways, figures glimpsed out of the corner of the eye. The Ashwood was alive with the spirits of its past, a place where the line between reality and the supernatural was blurred. The hotel's library was filled with books on the paranormal, ghost stories that seemed to mirror the experiences of those who had stayed there. It was as if the Ashwood itself was a character in its own story, a place where the past refused to be forgotten. The Ashwood's allure was undeniable. It drew people in with its beauty, its history, and its mystery. But for those who stayed, it was a place they would never forget. A place where the past was always present, and the spirits of the dead walked among the living. The sign outside the hotel read, "The Ashwood Hotel," but for those who knew its secrets, it was so much more. It was a place of beauty and terror, a place where the past and present coexisted in a delicate balance. It was a place where the living and the dead walked side by side. The Ashwood Hotel stood tall, a sentinel of history and mystery. Its walls held the secrets of the past, its halls echoed with the whispers of the dead. It was a place of beauty and terror, a place where the past and present coexisted in a delicate balance. It was a place where the living and the dead walked side by side. Emily and Jason, a young couple on a romantic getaway, arrived at the Ashwood. They had been planning this trip for months, eager to escape the hustle and bustle of their daily lives. The Ashwood was known for its quaint charm and historical significance, a perfect backdrop for their romantic escape. Excited, oblivious to the chilling tales, they had heard whispers about the hotel's haunted past, but they laughed it off, thinking it was just part of the local folklore. After all, ghost stories were a common way to attract tourists, right? The hotel with its antique furniture and dim lighting exuded an eerie charm. The grand facade with its ivy-covered walls and Gothic architecture stood as a silent witness to countless stories, both known and untold. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the grounds, the hotel seemed to come alive with a mysterious energy. They were shown to their room 313. The bellhop, an elderly man with a knowing smile, handed them the key with a slight hesitation. "Enjoy your stay," he said, his voice tinged with an unspoken warning. As they stepped inside, a chill ran down Emily's spine. The room was beautifully decorated, yet there was something unsettling about it. The air felt thick, almost as if it was charged with an invisible tension. Emily couldn't shake off the feeling that they were intruding on something ancient and powerful. The air felt heavy, oppressive. Outside, the weather mirrored the growing unease inside the room. A dense fog had rolled in, shrouding the hotel in a ghostly veil. The once picturesque landscape now seemed foreboding, as if nature itself was warning them to leave. Jason dismissed it as her imagination. "It's just an old building," he said, trying to reassure her. "Old places like this always have a certain atmosphere." But his words did little to comfort Emily, who couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. But deep down, he felt it too. Jason tried to hide his own unease, but the creeping sense of dread was impossible to ignore. He found himself glancing over his shoulder, half expecting to see a shadowy figure lurking in the corners of the room, a sense of unease, a feeling of being watched. They were not alone. The hotel seemed to breathe around them, its walls whispering secrets of the past. As night fell, the couple realized that their romantic getaway had turned into something far more sinister. The Ashwood held many secrets, and Emily and Jason were about to uncover them, whether they wanted to or not. The first night was the worst. Sleep eluded them. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls, faint, indecipherable, but undeniably there. Shadows danced in the corners of the room. Jason tried to rationalize it. Old building, creaky floorboards, nothing more. But Emily couldn't shake off the feeling of dread. She felt a presence, cold, menacing. It was as if the room itself was alive, breathing, watching their every move. The next morning, desperate for answers, they sought out Mr. Harlan, the town's historian. A frail old man, known for his vast knowledge of the town's dark and mysterious past. His small, cluttered office was filled with dusty books and ancient artifacts, each with its own story to tell. His eyes held a lifetime of secrets, secrets that had been passed down through generations, whispered in hushed tones and recorded in the brittle pages of old journals. He told them of the Ashwoods' past, a past that was as rich and vibrant as it was dark and foreboding. The Ashwood Hotel, once a grand and opulent establishment, had become a place of sorrow and despair, a tale of love, betrayal, and murder. The story began with a young woman named Eliza, who had come to the Ashwood seeking a new beginning. She was beautiful, with a kind heart, and a bright future ahead of her, but fate had other plans. Eliza had been brutally murdered in room 313, cautionary tale, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind even the most beautiful facades. Section 5. The Ghost of Room 313. That night, the haunting intensified. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. The shadows took on a life of their own, twisting, turning, forming into a ghostly figure. Eliza. Her eyes, filled with rage and sorrow, stared at them, accusing them. Terror gripped Emily and Jason. They were trapped, at the mercy of a vengeful spirit. They had to escape. But how? The room felt like a cage, and they were the prey. Section 6. A desperate escape. Panic surged through them. Jason, his heart pounding in his chest, grabbed their belongings. They had to get out, now! As they fumbled with the doorknob, it turned ice cold. The door wouldn't budge. It was as if an unseen force was holding it shut. With a final burst of adrenaline, Jason threw his weight against the door. It burst open. They stumbled out into the hallway, running for their lives, never looking back. Section 7. Scars of Ashwood. They fled the Ashwood that night, leaving behind the terror, the memories. But the experience left an indelible mark. Emily couldn't shake off the feeling of Eliza's eyes watching her. Jason's nightmares were haunted by the whispers. Their romantic getaway had turned into a horrifying ordeal, one that they would never forget. The Ashwood had shown them the darkness that lurked beneath its charming facade, a darkness that would forever haunt their dreams. Section 8. The Lure of the Unknown. Despite the terror, the Ashwood continued to draw guests. Drawn by its charm, its history, and perhaps a morbid curiosity, for there is an allure to the unknown, a fascination with the supernatural. And so, the cycle continued, guests checking in, unaware of the horrors that awaited them. The Ashwood, a silent sentinel, stood watch, its secrets buried deep within its walls. Section 9. A final warning. If you ever find yourself in Crestfall, beware the allure of the Ashwood. Heed the warnings whispered on the wind, for some doors are best left unopened, some secrets are better left buried, and some places are meant to be avoided. The Ashwood Hotel will forever be a place of shadows and whispers, a chilling reminder that the past never truly dies, and some spirits forever trapped will never find peace.